Hi again, folks. I'm in the middle of sort of doing a series on some of my favorite guitar players and what they do and how they've influenced me. And I want to take a moment and talk about one of my favorite musicians of all time, Chet Atkins. Not only is Chet a big influence on me, but he's been a big influence on popular music throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. He spent a lot of time as a producer and produced a lot of the big names you've heard of before. So on top of that, he was a brilliant guitar player. And I'm going to spend some time talking about his style of playing. A lot of what he did came from influences like Merle Travis and then some of the Mississippi Delta blues players who did fingerstyle guitar. Overall, his style falls under the umbrella of something called Travis picking, okay? And I'm going to give you a quick example of what Travis picking is before I get into anything heavier. But essentially what Travis picking is it is the theory of making your thumb do something totally separate from your fingers and being able to maintain both at the same time. What it does is it allows for the illusion that multiple players are playing at the same time, and it has a cool feel to it. So as I sort of dive into this, I just want you to have a guitar in your hand, and if a thumb pick, if you've got one. If not, they're cheap. They're 50 cents at the guitar shop. Get you a thumb pick. I use Fred Kelly, but I also have Dunlops and Fenders and everything else. So it doesn't really matter what you have. Find one that feels good on your thumb, and we'll go to town. So I'll be back in just a second, and we'll talk a little Travis picking. Okay, the fundamentals of Travis picking is your thumb acts as the bass guitar, the snare, and the kick drum, while your fingers act as the rhythm components, like a guitar, piano, whatever you want to do. It's all about, swing and stride on this first example I'm going to show you. So essentially, your thumb's going to do something like this. Okay, real simple. Your fingers are going to do this. Another simple part. Put them together and it sounds a little bit like this. So you get that illusion of that, and then that, and then you have the fingers doing that other thing. So you're trying to make it sound like a big band, and I think that one of the main reasons they came up with this style in Eastern Kentucky and Mississippi Delta was, back then if you had, there were some very poor, very, very poor areas down there, and if you were a single musician living in a hollow somewhere, you didn't have a bunch of guys to play with. So in order to create that sound, you had to learn how to do a lot of things on your own. So Merle Travis, Mississippi John Hurt, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Mose Rager, those guys all figured out a thumb style that allowed them to create a wall of sound with one instrument. So I'm going to show you a couple more examples of this, and then I'll play you a tune that I wrote in this style, and hopefully you'll have a little better understanding of Chet and what he sort of gave us as a musician and as a producer. His style was very different from Merle Travis, and I'll explain why. Merle Travis didn't really do the alternating bass thing, though. He was more of like a honky-tonk piano player with the left hand down here, where Chet was very refined in his playing, where he would be giving you alternating bass it's just a little more refined, and he had so many influences. Chet was not just a boom chick, boom chick, boom chick player. He was also a jazz musician. He was a classical musician. So his style is a little bit more to my taste than Travis, but anyway, those are kind of the difference between Travis and Chet. But all that's aside, I'm going to show you a couple more things here, and we'll see if you can pick up on some of this stuff and add it into your playing. Before I dive in, I want to explain one little thing that I forgot to mention a moment ago. Merle Travis, when he played, he only played with these two fingers, the thumb and the first finger. Chet was much more delicate and refined. He used multiple fingers. Merle Travis was always saying, "I wish I could play like Chet," and Chet said, "I always wish I could do what you do," you know. So they're both very different players, but they're both brilliant. This song that I'm going to play is a piece that Merle Travis used to play, but I'm going to play it in the Chet Atkins style. It's a song called "See You in My Dreams." I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'll just play a portion of it. But you'll hear the alternating bass, you'll hear the melody, and you'll hear the rhythm all at the same time. So in that, you hear the bass, right? And you also hear the melody and the rhythm. So that's another one that I really love to play. The song is much more involved than that, but that's essentially one round of it. Another one I want to play for you, which I will here, is a song written by Jerry Reed. Now, I don't know that Jerry Reed ever recorded this song on one of his own albums, but Chet recorded this song on one of his records for sure. And this song is called "Baby's Coming Home." And I absolutely love this song. Let me see if I can get a little different tone going here. A little too bright for me. A little out of tune, but that's okay. Here's that Jerry Reed song called "See You in My Dreams." So there's so much more. I don't really I feel like this is the exact place to do a tutorial on this style. Hopefully you could pick up on a few things I did there. I can do a tutorial if there's enough interest, but basically it's just a different way to listen. It's a different way to hear the instrument. And I love Chet. If you haven't listened to a lot of Chet Atkins, I definitely suggest it. He has a lot of albums that are done with an old Gretsch. He has albums that are done with classical guitars, with all acoustic. You know, he was a pioneer and an inventor. He invented a lot of guitar stuff. He had patents on different tailpieces and electronics and things like that. And just an amazing fellow. And if you're not familiar with him or his impact on the way we see guitar in the modern day, I definitely suggest you take a look him up. A brilliant player and one of my favorites of all time. So anyway, this is a Tradition Telecaster with a Bigsby. It's a Jerry Reed special, and I love this guitar. It just has such a cool, unique sound, and it plays and feels great. So anyway, thanks for listening, and hopefully you learned a little something. So have a good night. Sorry, I had forgotten. I promised to show you an original song played in this style. So I'm going to do that now. This song is called Lambie. It's a pretty simple tune, but hopefully it'll give you sort of an idea of how you can incorporate this style into something that you write as well. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you for listening, and if there is some desire for me to do a tutorial on this style, I'd be happy to do it. Otherwise, just check out some Chet Atkins and some Merle Travis, and enjoy the rest of your week.